All right, day 3, AP Physics, page 85, 86, homework problem number 14. We have a boat that's undergoing two different accelerations. And I'm going to do this in a kind of a common sense way, and I have a diagram to help me out with this. So for the first 3 seconds, the boat has a constant acceleration of 2 meters per second squared. Now we can go to the uniform acceleration equations and look at v sub I, v sub f, a, s, and t. We'll be doing some of that when we have more complicated problems, but this problem's easy enough. I know that if I'm accelerating at 2 meters per second for 3 seconds, I'm going to end up with a speed or a velocity at time 1, at the 3 second mark. My velocity at that time, I'm going to call it v1, because v0 was 0, of 6 meters per second. I mean, you can look at an equation like this, like your average acceleration equation. A average is delta v over delta t. Bottom line is, all I did was, I know the acceleration was average or constant at 2 meters per second squared, 2.0 meters per second squared. I'm looking for delta v, and the time is 3 seconds. So my delta v is 6 meters per second. Did that in my head. 6.0, let's go 6.0 meters per second. Because my v initial up here, or v, let's call it v0. My v0 is 0 meters per second. All right, so I've gained 6 meters per second. So now at the time 3 seconds, he really hits the gas pedal, and for 4 seconds more, no, 3 more seconds. For 4 seconds now, he has an acceleration of 4 meters per second. So, for example, let's do the part 2 here. The average acceleration, once again, AVE, is delta v over t. That's my generic statement. Now my acceleration is 4.0 meters per second squared, looking at the units. I have a delta v. I'm going to call that delta v2. This is the second phase here. It's over a time range of 4 more seconds. So I'm going to get a delta v, delta v2. I can go back over to the left here of delta v1. The change in velocity in the first phase was 6 meters per second. Now it's 16 meters per second. But that's my delta v, that's my gain. So if I'm at 6 meters per second at the 3 second mark and my new delta v is 16, I'm going to add the 16 onto the 6th. So going up the top here, v2 is going to be the 6 meters per second that I already gained in the first phase, plus the additional 16 meters per second. So now I'm going to be at 22 meters per second. I think that's the final answer. What is the approximate average? Oh, no, that's my final speed at the 7 second mark. I want the overall approximate average acceleration. So the overall, I'm going to go back to the top here. I'm going to go to a different color. I'm going to go to green at the very top of the screen. So the overall average acceleration is my overall delta v total, whoopsie, delta v total over delta t total. So in this case, the total change in velocity is 22 meters per second. And the total time is 7 seconds. So it's going to be about 3 point something meters per second squared as the total. No. It wants the approximate average acceleration over the first 5 seconds of motion. So I got to back it up a little bit here. I did too much. Okay, so this would have been if I went to the end of the 7 seconds. So I got to make an adjustment here. I'm going to call this lack of the v at I'm going to call it v5 for the velocity at 5 seconds, because after 3 seconds I've got I'm going 6 meters per second, and at the 3 second mark I go to 4 meters per second squared. Let's just do this in our head now. My gain in speed, I'll do it in green. My gain in speed, A average, for, I'm going to call it delta. I'm not really using good subscripts here, but delta v5 it's going to be over a time of, well, let's call it delta t generic. My average acceleration is going to be 4.0 And my delta V5, though, is only going to be for 2 seconds because I'm going from the 3 second to the 5 second mark. So it's only 2 more seconds. So I'm going to gain 8 meters per second, my delta V5. But that's only for 2 seconds, so I get an 8.0 meter per second gain in speed. So I got to go back up to the top here. I have to erase a little bit, going very up to the top. My delta V, I'm going to erase. I'm at the very top here now, erasing. Top right corner here. I'm going to get the right answer now. So my total delta V will be the 6 plus the 8. 6 meter per second gain in speed for the first 3 seconds, then 8 meters per second gain in those other 2 seconds, a total gain in speed of 14 meters per second. So let's get the right color here. 14 meters per second gain in speed over 5 seconds. Sorry about all this confusion. Hopefully that helps, though, for myself and for you to pay more attention to what the problem actually says. So it's a gain of about, what is that, 2.8 meters per second squared, or I should say an average acceleration of 2.8 meters per second squared.